Hi, I'm James the Light Guy, and today we're taking a look at a very special set of LED panels. These are the Element Lights by PhotonLab. Let's open it up. As you can see, inside the box we have a thick black foam to protect it during shipping. However, between each of the panels we don't get a plastic sheet or paper to protect the panels from scratching each other during shipping. Each box contains 10 panels. Let's pull them all out. Now that we've removed all the panels, let's get this isolating foam out of the box. Beneath the first layer we have a second level containing all of our cables. First, the cord to the wall for me is a US style plug. We also have our power adapter. We're going to take a closer look at this in a minute, but for now you can see it has many certifications on the sticker label. Next is our controller unit. This gets attached to our lead panel. And lastly, we have a number of these double-sided sticky adhesives. They're foam core, they're supposedly 3M, but I don't trust them. Let's get all this out of the way. Alright, taking a look at these panels now. We can see that the front face is a milky white diffuser, goes around to the sides. Construction wise it is pretty solid with limited deck flex across it. Behind here is 55 LEDs, and looking at the back is just a plastic shell. Stamped has the PhotonLab logo and designed by PhotonLab at the bottom. Around the periphery we have 5 female 4-pin connectors and 1 male 4-pin connector, which is the power input. Let's get a couple of these panels out of the way. Taking a closer look at how they connect, we'll grab the 4-pin male connector and we'll slide it into an adjacent 4-pin connector. They're not positively retained, they just slide in, and as a friction fit, you do need to remember the orientation that they are connected for later on in the app. Next, let's take a look at the cables. Up first is the main wall cable. As I said before, I have a US style plug. It has some strain relief on it. The prongs are fairly sturdily held in place. It seems to have a decent rubber sheath. It's fairly flexible. Let's unwind that and take a look at its overall length. See here, we got 1.5 feet, 3 feet, 4.5 feet, say about 5 feet long from plug to terminal. Next, we'll grab the power adapter block. You can see it's a slightly different shade of white than everything else so far. It has an input power of 100 to 240 volts AC at 2 amps, and we have an output of DC power 24 volts 6 amps. And there are those certifications again, supposedly. On the front we have an LED indicator telling us whether or not it has power, and a little bit of strain relief on this cable. Let's see how long this one is. 1, 2, 3, about, call it 4 feet long on that end. The terminal here is a standard barrel style connector with a little bit of strain relief at the bottom. Grabbing our control box, we see that the end of the cable has the female end of that barrel connector with a little bit of strain relief and a short cable leading to the box itself. It is white ABS plastic with 3 buttons on the left side. We have a power, play, and music button. And on the right we have an infrared sensor. Now, somewhere inside this box is a microphone for that music button. When you press the music button, it's supposed to react to noise, but you can see there is no hole to let noise into that microphone. On the back we have the 4-pin female connector that goes to our lead panel, and designed by PhotonLab on the back. Next, let's connect up these panels. Since orientation is important, we're going to get all of these 5 to the center, and then the center down to the bottom. The panels do just slide in together, nice and easy. You don't need to force them, otherwise you may bend a pin. You can see this bottom one is giving me a little bit of trouble. I just realign it and it slides right in. Perfect. We'll push this up to get it more in frame. Grab the main connector and connect it to the male pins sticking off the bottom. Nice and easy. Again, these isn't positively retained in any way. We'll grab our barrel connector. Next, we'll connect our adapter block to our wall cable. And we'll connect our wall cord directly into a power strip that I have on hand. I have the meter here, but I'm not actually looking at it, so I will have to leave a note in the description if anyone cares about what kind of power draw it takes. The next step is setting it up in the app. I'm not going to go too slow, so feel free to pause the video as needed. Let's get it up on screen. You can see my finger taps as white presses on the screen. We're going to open PhotonLab. We're going to allow location while using the app. In this case, on the far right, we're going to select the gear, and at the top, pairing. We have to choose our Wi-Fi signal. I'm going to use the Gotham network. We'll connect. That has to be a 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi network. It won't work on anything else. I highly recommend disabling your mobile data, as it does interfere with the setup a lot. Next, we'll go back to our app, enter in our Wi-Fi password, and then move on to the next screen by hitting continue. Here we now connect up to the panels themselves. They show up in the Wi-Fi as element lights. You can see it's telling me that I can't connect to the internet, which is fine. We're connected to the lights themselves. Then press continue, and they will begin pairing. After a few seconds, we'll get them to fully pair up, and it will say we're all set. There we go. Let's start. We're going to click on our layout manager, but at the bottom it says panels detected 0. That's a problem. Go to devices, device 1. We're going to try hitting reconnect. That may not have done anything. Let's try it again. Alright, let's check. We'll go back to the main page, layout manager. Still shows 0 panels detected at the bottom. Go back to devices, device 1. We're going to hit the top right, reload all, back up, back to layout manager, and there they are, 7 panels detected. We'll hit 1, that's our main bottom panel. We'll keep adding the plus to drag in more panels. We're going to drag them down to match the orientation we have, and use the rotate button to line up the panels as they're connected. If you remember, I said that we're setting up all of the surrounding ones from the center pointed inward. The center is down into our lead panel. Rotate that, add our last panel, make sure that it's in the correct position and orientation, and oh, I hit an extra panel. What do? Hit the X to delete it. Once you're all set, hit next, and a panel will illuminate. Select that panel on the screen and then hit the blue button. We're doing 1 panel at a time, making sure that we identify the correct panel that is illuminated. This will make it so that when we individually color panels, we know what panel is what in the system. Getting our last panel set, we are all set. We can now back out at the top corner and go to the light bulb. Turn everything on, which sets it back to 0 for the initial setup. We can choose what color we want here, and then pull up the slider, and you can see we have a beautiful little light blue. These preset colors aren't fantastic. As you can see, they aren't very vibrant. You can use the color wheel on the side to drag and select colors and hit set. But additionally, using the color wheel, you can use the bottom numbers to set specific colors or color combinations. Let's turn out these lights so we get a better view. If you guys can see any of these hazy lines going across the screen, that is my camera, not the panels. The panels are a nice, smooth, even light. When trying to get a rich color, I recommend using low numbers in the individual settings and then turning up the brightness afterward. Looking at adding 45 red, 15 green, and no blue gives us a bit of an orange that is a bit more vibrant than the original preset for orange. We have a power button that turns them on and off to the last setting. You can see that there's a bit of a delay. The second block is themes. You can set themes across all of them, or using the hexagon on the bottom right, you could set them individually. But once you try to adjust brightness, it resets to the last solid color that it had. The first one was a rainbow. This second rainbow is a moving one. The themes do not balance across panels. Although we know where each panel is, the panels don't communicate with each other that way. Here you can change individual panels off of the theme. We're going to go blue, a little bit of orangey red, some yellow. We'll do purple, but it didn't work it that time. It's a little buggy. Let's try again. Alright, that time it registered. Let's pick a color. I'm feeling green. Yep. As you can see, my camera's not picking up the colors very well. It's very bright and it's hard for my camera to discern them at this brightness when pointed right up at the camera. Set this one to pretty white, which shows up purple for some reason. clicking at the top, we can switch between, but again, once we try and set any brightness on any panel, it resets all of them to the last uniform color we had. Let's hit the play button. Try that again. Now it's generating a random theme, and it's going to roll through various little settings, color palettes, and brightnesses. This is great for a demo or just showing them off in general. I think they're really pretty this way, and depending on what you need functionality wise, they're great for ambience. But again, you can't adjust the brightness or it will reset. Next, we'll set up the music button. Let's make sure my screen doesn't go dark. Hit the music button. I don't have music going, so let's just clap. We should be able to add more themes. There used to be many themes, not the hundreds that they said there were, but there were some available. Now there are no additional themes in the app. It's a little frustrating because there were IR themes that if you waved your hand over the panels, they would illuminate. In the compass panel, you have more information about PhotonLab. The help center is useless. The community doesn't exist. That forum page is gone. You can see in settings, we have schedules. They don't exist. Smart home, like using Amazon or Google. If you click the links, it just brings you to a page telling you about those systems, not actually enabling them in any meaningful way. Useless. Supposed to be able to connect to social media and YouTube, but again, those aren't available features. Motion detect, not there. Additional utilities, not there. These panels were supposed to have many features, many features. Individually addressable LEDs. They were supposed to work on all of the smart home support. You were supposed to originally be able to hook up 21 panels to a single power supply, and then they reduced that down to 10. Motion detection from 5 meters away, but that's not supported yet. The sound sensor, as you saw, had a lot of difficulty responding to even loud claps right next to it. All of the integration for calendars, social media, and cross-panel themes doesn't exist. We really ought to have had a better system since we were promised more. But if you're just looking for some lights that turn on and off, once you have them set to whatever colors and brightness you want, you can put them on a smart outlet and control that with a Google Home or Amazon device. It seems to work pretty well that way. It retains the last setting. I can't even set up individual themes right now because it's a little buggy and they just failed to work. But this is the initial setup for these panels. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful, Please hit that like and subscribe. If you have questions, leave them down below for me. I love hearing from you guys, and will try my best to answer those questions. That's all I have for today's video. I look forward to the next one. I'm going to try and get the same setup done for iOS and see if there's anything that I can do with that. The test flight for the app was most recently pulled down and the original version put back up, and it's way buggier than anything that I've ever had to deal with. So until next time, I'm James the Light Guy.